According to reports, Naoya Inoue versus MJ Akhmadaliev just set a new record for garnering the most views outside of Japan. Meaning, in all of Naoya Inoue's illustrious career, this fight with MJ Akhmadaliev has accumulated the most viewership coming from places that are outside and excluding his home country of Japan. And I think this is dope, to which I responded and said, hey man, I think that this is because MJ Akhmadaliev is a quality opponent. And this is the first time of recent memory, in his last few fights that he's fought a quality opponent. And to which Al Bernstein, Hall of Fame boxing contributor, he responded to me and said this. And I wasn't saying it to disrespect anybody, but I do want to point out the hypocrisy. And the hypocrisy in boxing is real, and I think that's really tarnishing the sport, to be honest. Because whether you like somebody or you dislike somebody, you shouldn't set or move the goalposts based on your own personal preference. It should be the same for everybody, equal and fair opportunity, right? But with some of y'all, I'm convinced that Naoya Inoue could eat some ass. What? And go back and breathe in your face, and you gonna tell him it smells like roses. Cause roses really smell like boo, boo, boo. Yeah. I know you like to thank you. Don't stay.
Hello guys, this is Rolly Romero.
Yo, my name is Nonito Donaire. What's up guys, Designer's Eyes.
We're here with Bob Santos Boxing.
And I rock with Dr. Boxing Talk.
I want to give a quick shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk.
And I want to give a big shout out to Dr. Boxing Talk. Thank you for all the love, thank you for all the support.
You're rocking with Dr. Boxing Talk. Get your daily news from my man right here, the best in the business. Let's get it, baby.
All day, baby.
Amen.
Bam!
If I tell you I'm good, probably you'll say I'm boasting. But if I tell you I'm no good, you know one line.
Yo, what's good, Boxing Talk family? Welcome back to your favorite boxing news channel, Dr. Boxing Talk. We are back for another YouTube video. Banger, man. Yes, sir. Yes, man. I don't know what time it is. Doctor's in the house, man. So check this out. But before we get to it, let's go ahead and smack that like button. Let's do it together. Appreciate you. That helps us to keep going and growing on this YouTube platform. So check this out. Before we get to it, I want to tell you how fond I am of Naoya Inoue. To me, he's top 3 pound for pound. Terence Crawford, Alexander Usyk, and Naoya Inoue, man. Phenomenal fighter. I always root for him, you know what I'm saying? But I also tell the truth. You feel me? And part of the truth is saying that he's a great fighter is what is the main topic today. And that is the hypocrisy of boxing, man. A lot of people are very hypocritical. Like, as I told you in the intro, Naoya Inoue and MJ Akhmadaliev just broke a record. And I said it's because I think that MJ Akhmadaliev is clearly the best opponent that he's had in a while. I'll say since Marlon Tapales. I'm not saying that Naoya Inoue is a terrible fighter. In fact, I'm saying the opposite. I'm saying he's great, and I'm giving him his kudos. But I have to admit that Ramon Cardenas, TJ Doheny, and Yi Jun Kim, and some of his recent opponents weren't that good. They're not up to par. There's nothing wrong with saying that. That's not diminishing Naoya Inoue as a fighter. And I also said that MJ Akhmadaliev has been deserving of the opportunity to fight Naoya Inoue. And people will also give me pushback on that, like I'm throwing shots at Naoya Inoue because I said another fighter deserves an opportunity. I never said MJ Akhmadaliev would beat Naoya Inoue. In fact, I thought that Naoya Inoue would stop MJ Akhmadaliev. No disrespect, but I just thought that Naoya Inoue would win, and he did win. But I thought he would stop him in the 9th round. That was my prediction. I never said MJ Akhmadaliev would beat him. And even if I did, who cares? It's boxing. People act like it's sacrilegious to make assessments for the outcome of a fight if you don't agree with them. You see what I'm saying? And it's crazy, and people aren't immune to that. It's just the human nature, I guess, to always feel like you're right. If you like something, then nothing associated with it is bad, and people that you like are infallible. Like that, nobody's perfect, man, and nobody's above critiques or criticism, just like nobody's above or below compliments. You know what I'm saying? I bestow compliments when they're due, and I think Naoya Inoue is a phenomenal fighter. But now that I got that out the way, I said, and according to this post, with him breaking the record of viewership, I said that it's because people actually believed that MJ Akhmadaliev is a good opponent for a change. I think that since Marlon Tapales, Naoya Inoue hasn't really been fighting anybody that'd get everybody excited. And then Al Bernstein, who's a Hall of Fame contributor, apparently he can't be honest or make an assessment without being influenced by the people or his bias. He responds to me like I said something wrong. He said, am I kidding him? He said that he fought Louis Neary, who's a former champion. Emphasis on the former. This is what he said. Now I'm showing you. He also said that he fought Ramon Cardenas, who was ranked #1.
Bring that ass here, boy.
What? So I responded, you know, me being slick because I actually watch boxing. Like, I don't play this, bro. This is why I do what I do. And we are growing how we're growing. Thank God to that, number one. Number two, thank God to your support. And number three, I thank God for my willingness and my meticulousness and the due diligence that I put in. Bro, today, Liam Parle fought David Papit. Or Papo, right? Because he's French. That was at 4 in the morning. I'm in Florida in the United States. That was hosted in Australia. I woke up and got my goofy dope fiend boxing
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
crackhead behind up and watched the fight. You're not doing that. That's why I do what I do. When it comes to the rule books, like the WBA and President Gilberto Mendoza or the IBF and President Daryl Peoples, I actually read the rule books. I enjoy nerdy shit like that. I have my PhD in engineering. Maybe that's why, because I'm just used to doing research, but that's what I enjoy. So when I tell you that there's an order to things and the WBA mandatory and MJ Badaliev was next, despite other people being mandatories like Sam Goodman for the WBO and Ramon Cardenas for the, and you try to disagree with me, you can disagree with me if you want to, but somebody's erroneous and somebody's factual. And you're probably erroneous when I show you the documentation showing that the WBA takes priority in the order of things. Just like when Michael Eifert was on the cusp of interrupting Bivol and Beterbia's rematch and trilogy. And people say, oh, Michael Eifert came out of nowhere. No, he just came out of nowhere to you because you're oblivious to the rules. I always knew that Michael Eifert, who's the IBF mandatory, would be next and deserving of his shot. That doesn't mean because I say somebody deserves an opportunity to fight since they earned their rankings through merit. That's what the rankings are supposed to be for. I know sometimes there's some politics and there's money involved, but the rankings are there to be earned through merit. So when I say Michael Eifert deserves a shot, that's not me saying that Michael Eifert will beat Dmitry Bivol or me saying that Michael Eifert will beat Artur Beterbiev. I'm just advocating for boxers to get their opportunities that they deserve in boxing. What's wrong with that? You should thank me. You feel me? But when I say that Ramon Cardenas is not that up to par as far as a quality opponent, you shouldn't get mad. You should be like, okay, maybe he's on to something, because you have Al Bernstein here, and I'm gonna show you how hypocritical he is, because these same people that tell me that Louis Neary was a good opponent for Naoya Inoue because he was a former champ, you also got mad at Saul Canelo Alvarez, aka Cinnamon, for fighting William Skoll, who was an undefeated current champ.
You dumbass.
For undisputed. How does that make sense? So if Louis Neary is good, then William Skoll by default has to be at least good or an acceptable opponent. This is what he said. I'm not saying this. I'm just responding. Now let's go to his other point with Ramon Cardenas, being that he was ranked number one. You know who else was ranked number one? We're going to stay on Canelo because I could go on for days, but we're going to keep it to how I responded. And I responded and said, well, Cinnamon, when he fought Edgar Berlanga was not only ranked number one, like Ramon Cardenas, but Edgar Berlanga was also undefeated, unlike Ramon Cardenas. Matter of fact, let's talk about who Ramon Cardenas lost to. He lost to a guy named Danny Flores. Danny Flores currently has 26 losses.
Damn.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you heard me right, 26 losses. Now, at the time when Danny Flores beat Ramon Cardenas, he only had 9 of those losses, but he still has 26 losses. So this guy lost to a guy that's garnered 26 L's. And you're telling me that he was a good opponent for the spectacular, phenomenal top 3 pound for pound Naoya Inoue.
Bullshit! Bullshit! Bullshit, 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 bullshit.
2 times undisputed. Get the fuck out of here. Just tell me that you like him and you don't think that he could do anything wrong. So I don't mind. Look, I want to be very clear. I like Ramon Cardenas, man. Shout out to him. He was able to drop Naoya Inoue, and I like people coming from rags to riches and coming up. You know, he deserves his opportunity. I'm not saying that he's bad, but what I'm saying that if you're going to say that Cardenas is good, then at least be consistent and not complain about Canelo fighting Edgar Berlanga. And I could go on with other fighters too, like Boots and Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford, how people get on their opponents. But we're going to stick on the topic, which is Canelo and Naoya Inoue. So it'd be very, so this video won't have to be so long. You see what I'm saying? So when I say Louis Neary wasn't a quality opponent, I know Louis Neary was a former champion. You understand? But I also know William Skoll was an undefeated current champion that you complained about. You feel me? And not only that, Louis Neary, by the way, him being a former champion and all, he still got stopped by Brandon Figueroa. Do you know who Brandon Figueroa is? Well, let me jog your memory. Remember that guy Stephen Fulton that Naoya Inoue knocked out? Well, Stephen Fulton beat Brandon Figueroa not once, but twice. And one of the times that he beat Brandon Figueroa was before he got knocked out by Naoya Inoue. And Brandon Figueroa, that same guy, he stopped Louis Neary.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
So you're telling me that a guy that got stopped by a guy that lost to a guy twice that Naoya Inoue knocked out is an acceptable opponent? But you're telling me an undefeated current champion of a guy in William Skull to reclaim undisputed for 2 times is not an acceptable champion. So what I'm saying is I think Louis Neary is a good guy. You know what I'm saying? As far as a fighter, I mean, he did cheat. So is he a good guy? I don't know. It's up to you. But Louis Neary, that storyline was intriguing and interesting, not because Louis Neary was a former champion or he was some good quality opponent. It was interesting because if you actually watch boxing, you would know that he cheated Naoya Inoue's countryman in Yamanaka. And he beat him twice and cheated him twice. And he was subsequently banned from Japan for fighting. And then they lifted the ban after he was banned indefinitely to let Naoya Inoue come back and put the paws on him, put the beats on him for recompense for cheating his former countryman or his countryman and former champion Yamanaka. That's why the storyline was good, because it was a revenge arc. It wasn't good because Louis Neary was some super former champion that was unbeatable.
You dumbass.
So I'm not, like I said, once again, I want to, before we get lost in the sauce, I like Al Bernstein and I like a lot of these boxing commentators and aficionados. But if you're going to do your job, at least do it effectively and at least be fair, because that's what the fighters deserve. All the fighters, not just Naoya Inoue, but also Canelo and Gervonta Davis and Terence Crawford and Caleb Plant. All these guys are throwing punches and getting punched on. So let's give them the credit that they deserve. So if you're going to tell me that Ramon Cardenas and Louis Neary are acceptable opponents for a champion the caliber of Naoya Inoue, then I don't want to hear you complain about a champion like Canelo Alvarez fighting Edgar Berlanga or William Skull, or Gervonta Davis fighting Frank Martin, who's an undefeated, highly ranked opponent, and him fighting Lamont Roach, who was a champion. Since you're going to tell me about former champions being good and a guy who's never been in a title fight before and lost to another guy who currently has 26 losses, Danny Flores, you're going to tell me Ramon Cardenas is good.
Know your fucking place, trash.
Stop it, bro. Just be consistent, man. The hypocrisy is real. Y'all got to stop it, man. Or come over here and I'll get you right. I rock with Naoya Inoue. I think he's the best. But there's no shame. And I was throwing no shade when I said that he broke the viewership for his own record outside of the U.S. because MJ Akhmadaliev is the first quality opponent that he's fought since Marlon Tapales. Yes, and it is what it is. He beat the hell out of MJ Akhmadaliev and styled on him, you know. And I didn't think it was as bad as people say. I wish MJ Akhmadaliev would have been a little bit more, fought with a little more fervor. But Naoya Inoue's a beast. I had Naoya Inoue going in and winning. You know what I'm saying? So I just think that it's crazy when people will say, "Oh, this person's good because they like this person," but then this person that they don't like, he's fighting somebody that's subpar. When in actuality, the guy that you actually like is probably fighting the least quality opposition. And as of late, that applies to Naoya Inoue. Out of his last, let's count his next opponent, right? Alan Picasso Romero. Alan Picasso Romero, he just got out of a controversial decision win over Kameda, Kiyonosuke Kameda. And then before that, a couple fights before that, he got off by the skin of his teeth, which I personally think was a robbery. He got a gifted a win against Hovhannissian. I don't care where he's ranked in the WBC. Naoya Inoue is going to mop the floor with him, and he's not a quality opponent. It is what it is. You see what I'm saying? So Romero is his next opponent in December. He just fought MJ Akhmadaliev, which I think was a great fight, and that was a quality opponent, and he whooped him, shot Naoya Inoue. Before that, he fought who? Ramon Cardenas. Before that, he fought Yi Jun Kim. Before that, he fought TJ Doheny. One in his last 5 fights were actually a quality opponent. Well, one of it's going to be a future fight in December, but you see what I'm saying? 1 out of 5. And that's not me knocking Naoya Inoue. It's just the truth.
You can't handle the truth.
If you can't handle the truth, well, this ain't the channel for you. So I appreciate you rocking with me as always. Don't forget to smack that like button. But most importantly, remember, with God, we can do anything. Without God, we are nothing. The doctor's out. Peace. I'm going to call out all the hypocrisy. One time again, shout out for Al Bernstein. I don't think he's a bad commentator or contributor, but I do think him, along with other people, have allegiances, especially with the DAZN commentators. Oh my gosh, they're the worst. They have allegiances with certain fighters, and they'll tell you what this fighter is doing is the best thing since sliced bread. But then they'll tell you when another fighter that they don't like or don't have an affiliation with or a loyalty to, where they're doing more, they try to diminish it like they're doing less. You got to do your own research or come over here and I'll get you right, because this is what I do. You know what I'm saying? Pugilist enthusiast, boxing aficionado. Doctor's out. Fuck out of here. From the hood to college, both worlds they had to meet. 6 degrees between us, so cold, we're about to freeze. But we're Florida boys, hot takes, we bring the heat. We're moving the culture, the engineers to the streets.